Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now. Happy New Year. We have arrived in the year 2023, Sunday, January the 1st. Ian Cameron and Alex B. Smith with you, ready to break down the first NHL slate, NHL card of 2023, a Sunday card with 5 games on tap. We hope you survived your New Year's Eve celebrations and festivities. Clearly, if you're in the chat or you're watching or listening to the show right now, you did survive. So glad to see everyone made it into the new year safe and sound. Yeah, and we're excited for what the new year has in front of us. Before we get into the Sunday games, we'll look back on yesterday. Certainly, we will look back fondly, Alex and I, on the final day of 2022 in the NHL, because it was a hell of a good day from a betting perspective for both of us. Excellent. The only thing that could have been better for me is if that damn fucking best bet, and that's the one little fly in the ointment from yesterday, Ottawa, Detroit over 6.5 and 4-2 early in the third and not another goal after that. So that was frustrating. But other than that, it was a really, really good day overall. We had Buffalo as a big dog against Boston early in the day. Great win for the Sabres as they get the early lead, or get the 2-1 lead. Boston does what they've done a lot, and that's come back strong in the third period. And they end up going ahead 3-2. But the Sabres, they get the tying goal late, probably one that Jeremy Swayman, if you ask him, he wishes he had and was able to stop. But that ended up tying the game. And then the Sabres get the win in overtime, 4-3. Great resolve, great resilience shown by that young Sabres team, handing the Bruins a very rare home loss. The Bruins still have yet to lose in regulation at home, but they do lose that game in overtime to the Buffalo Sabres, who continue to play some really good hockey of late. Some of the other games that we saw yesterday in the NHL, Columbus beating Chicago 4-1. We saw Vegas beat Nashville 5-4 in overtime. Solid comeback from Nashville in the third period, but Vegas survives with the 5-4 win. Shorthanded Vegas Golden Knights, of course. Philadelphia with a huge upset, 4-2 against LA. I mean, the red-hot Philadelphia Flyers, all of a sudden, 2 straight wins for them against San Jose and LA. This was very impressive, and I liked what I saw out of the young kid, Samuel Ersson, in net for Philadelphia. He played well, especially in the third period of that game. So I give him a lot of credit, and he might start getting more opportunities in net from Torts if he keeps playing that way. He had a solid third period in the victory. We saw Tampa Bay dig themselves an early hole, 2-0, but quickly got themselves out of it, and they end up beating Arizona 5-3. Still a pretty good effort, all things considered, from the Arizona Coyotes on the road. One of their better efforts, but when it comes to winning time on the road, Arizona is still struggling in that regard. I believe that's their 7th straight road loss after the defeat to the Lightning yesterday. Minnesota 5-2 against the St. Louis Blues. I know Alex liked the first period over. I had the Wild and the over, so that was a good game, good result. Minnesota bounces back with a 5-2 win over St. Louis there. Toronto 6-2 over Colorado. Same old Leafs. You know, they lose to some of these weaklings, but they step up against the good teams. Remember, they beat Tampa Bay just recently as well. Yeah. And, of course, they beat Colorado and spoil the return of Nathan MacKinnon for the Avalanche as the Leafs get the win 6-2. Detroit with a third period comeback. They're becoming the third period comeback kids lately, Detroit. They did it against Pittsburgh, and they did it last night, 4-2 against Ottawa. I did have a piece of Detroit, but as I mentioned, frustrated that the best bet falls short on the over as that ends 4-2. Dallas 5-2 against San Jose. I ended up adding a late addition to the card with Stars team total in that game, over 3.5, and it got there, so happy to see that. Calgary 3-2 against Vancouver. They hang on. Very good effort again from the Vancouver Canucks, kind of like the Winnipeg game, but they just don't get a result to show for it as they end up falling short 3-2 in that game. Markstrom was solid in net, very good down the stretch when Vancouver was really making a push to tie that game. I think for Calgary, too, as they're starting to play better hockey, it's good to see Blake Coleman starting to score, Lindholm starting to get going, Huberdeau now starting to shake off his early season funk. So that was a nice thing to see, and Calgary starting to get to their game. And I was on the Jets to end the night. Very nice underdog winner there, 2-1 against Edmonton. New pads for Jack Campbell. Same old result, though, unfortunately, and that's a loss. He didn't play that bad, actually, but he also didn't face a ton of shots. Edmonton did play a pretty good defensive game, and yet they still lose 2-1. And Hellebuck, very good in net for the Winnipeg Jets, once again, allowing them to get the 2-1 win. And that's kind of a spot I like to look at moving forward, and keep an eye on those spots. Teams that are off these blowout wins, especially when they got to play on back-to-back days the very next night, a lot of times that's not a carryover. In fact, you empty the tank one night, 7-2 over Seattle, and you just cannot duplicate that, and you lose the next day. That I could see that kind of an angle working, and that happening a lot, where a team off a blowout win that has to play the very next night, they don't get the job done. And we saw that last night with the Edmonton Oilers. Alex, your thoughts on the final NHL slate of 2022?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I mean, it started off in the day. You got Buffalo, getting that 4-3 overtime win. Boston still yet to lose at home in regulation. So it's interesting to see just how far that can go along. And maybe you can, it's something to keep in mind too. If you're looking to fade Boston at home, don't want to look at that regulation line. You want to try and get the plus price just straight up with a dog potentially, because they've just been that tough to beat. And looking at the Hawks game with Columbus, I mean, that's just pretty much what we figured it would be. Just kind of an easy game. Thought it would be more scoring involved both ways, but the fact that Columbus got the revenge angle and took care of business at home, that's a nice win for them. Calgary, that's one of the losses I did have on the card, was that first period over at Calgary and Vancouver, and might have to start looking away from that Calgary first period over trend, even though it's been a hot run. Now that they're playing better, their style of hockey, that Sutter style of hockey, is going to be more defensive oriented. They're probably not going to give up a lot of goals early like they've been doing recently. And that, Markstrom seems to have kind of corrected those errors he's had of, getting beat on the first shot or the first few shots of the game. So that's something to keep in mind moving forward. Stars and Sharks, I had that first period over, and I'm really mad at myself because I actually like that team total as well. Didn't play it, unfortunately, but they get the win with another quick first period over in that one. So I was happy to see that. Washington just completely destroying Montreal. And I mean, this is now getting really ugly. I'm talking about 16 goals combined in the last couple of games for the Habs allowed. They've got to do something with their goaltending and blue line sooner than later. So we might be landing on a gold mine here. You're going with some team totals against Montreal moving forward.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, 9-2, Washington beating down Montreal, and that actually, it's funny. I almost omitted that game from the recap yesterday, and that was one of my most profitable games on the board yesterday. Every bet cashed. I mean, I was on 4 different bets in that game. 4-0 sweep. Washington first period puck line, Washington full game puck line, Washington team total over 3.5, which was the one I had the most money on, was just the team total over 3.5 with the Capitals, and the full game over. And that, the reason for that was I wanted to really, really hammer and target the Montreal blue line. It is not an NHL caliber blue line. I think now I've said it like 8 times now in the last week or so here on the show. It's not a blue line that you can count on night in and night out to shut down good teams offensively. It's just not going to be the case until they get until they get Savard back at least, and until they get Matheson back. There's going to be some issues. And, if something were to happen now to Edmondson, the only veteran they still have, on that plan, Caden Gooley being out significant. Of all the young kids you did not want to see get injured, Caden Gooley was the one guy, because he has been, I think, the best of the young crop of Montreal Canadiens defensemen so far this season. And to see him get injured, now you're really thin. You're really struggling with guys that cannot play the minutes they're being asked to right now by Marty St. Louis, who has no fucking choice, by the way. He has no choice. I mean, this is what the cards he's been dealt. This is the hand he's been dealt. And unfortunately, this is what you've got to deal with it now if you're him. And Montreal definitely, until they get some health on the blue line, they're going to be a team I'm targeting again for the other team to light it up offensively against them. And now we've seen them give up 7 and 9 goals in back-to-back games here against Florida and Washington. It has been rough for that very thin, young, inexperienced Montreal Canadiens blue line. Hopefully we're not thin on winners here for the Sunday NHL card. So let's get into it. We've got 5 games. We'll start with Carolina, New Jersey. The Hurricanes -115, road favorites, 6 the total in this game. Carolina continues to just roll along brilliantly right now. So impressive against Florida the other night, a Florida team that had dominated them. Well, the domination came to an end with a thud. 4-0 shutout for the Carolina Hurricanes on Friday night against the Florida Panthers. That's now an incredible 10 straight wins here for the Carolina Hurricanes. They basically are just roaring up the standings at this point in time. Not only 10 straight wins, 16 consecutive games notching at least a point for Carolina. So 16 straight games without a regulation loss for this Carolina Hurricanes team. I ain't going against that here. You better believe that's not going to happen. New Jersey, though, the one little thing that I hesitate on, I mean, for me, I'm still going to be on the Canes today in this game. But the one little thing I hesitate on is teams that are struggling. They snapped the losing streak, and New Jersey did that 4-2 win against Pittsburgh. Sometimes you get a little boost from that. You get a little positivity when you come to the rink. You get just everything feels like it's a sigh of relief. You exhale, and you're not as wound up or tight, as a hockey team. When you're struggling and you finally get that win, you can relax, and oftentimes you can play better as a result. So I wouldn't put that past New Jersey. That being said, they beat a struggling Florida team, and then they beat a Pittsburgh team that's kind of falling apart at the moment. They're injury riddled. They're struggling with confidence right now. They've blown a couple games. Those are the only 2 wins for New Jersey in their last 10 games. So this is going to be a step up, I think, for the Devils here, even though they're at home in this game hosting Carolina, a Carolina team that's owned them, by the way. 4 straight wins for Carolina over New Jersey, 5 of the last 6 as well. We don't have goalies confirmed yet. They have been going with Antti Raanta of late. Raanta has played well. Maybe they'll go back to him here today. We'll see. But Pyotr Kochetkov in some sites is projected. Vanacek for New Jersey. Either way, very, very cheap price, in my opinion, to back this Hurricanes team the way they're playing. As complete a brand of hockey as there is right now from any team. Offensively, defensively, they've been just shutting it down, shutting out multiple teams. Many of their wins, they've held the opponent to 2 goals or less. I mean, they are really playing some great, complete hockey right now as a team. I like them here, -115. What do you think here, Alex? Carolina, New Jersey.
Yeah, I thought this was kind of a weird line. At first, I was just going to stay away from this game, but like I said, there's no way you can turn down Carolina, the form that they're in right now at this price. Even though, like I said, they have dominated against New Jersey, they've struggled in Newark. They've lost 5 of the last 6 meetings, and the home team has won 11 of the last 13 meetings between the 2 teams. So it's a little bit of trepidation, but like I said, this is a wagon right now that I don't want to step in front of Carolina. So I'm going to go with that on the money line, -$1.15 as well.
Yeah, good point by Rich. There's someone in the chat. Colorado man 63, Evanovsky, very strong team at home, but on the road a little different. Talking about Carolina, yeah, that's true. I mean, they're only 12-8 on the road. They're an incredible 12-4 at home, but that's kind of canceled out here in this game by New Jersey's actually terrific on the road, and they've been mediocre at the Rock here. Yeah. 10-10, 500 team New Jersey on home ice this year. So. I think Carolina, again, when you look at it, I think you've got it. I honestly think Rich H is right. It'll be Raanta again. How do you not put Raanta in there? He's coming off another shutout the other night against Florida. Kochetkov's been great too, but they started Raanta once. He was great. So they put him in again. He was great again. Then he's another shutout. So he's feeling it right now. And he's a good goalie. He can be. When he's healthy, he's capable. Yeah. Antti Raanta. We know that. Remember what he did in the playoffs last year? Had to play a ton of games. And he played, and he made a very good account of himself. Only against, I think, the Rangers as we went along that playoff run did he start to wear down a little bit, and that was after a bunch of games. And there will be a point, where Raanta, after 5, 6, 7 starts in a row, he's not nearly as effective. We're talking about a guy that's a little older, but right now he's in a groove. It wouldn't surprise me if he's in. Wouldn't surprise me if they go to Pyotr either. But either way, this is not a bet that I'm making based on who's in net. It's based on this team playing just terrific hockey right now and being priced at a very reasonable plateau, in my opinion. So Carolina here, -115 from me. As far as the props go, it's funny. The one guy I considered betting, because for Carolina yesterday or on Friday against Florida, I took Natchez. I looked at the 3 guys on the third line, Fost, Stahl, and Martinuk. And I considered Stefan Nason, but I did not bet Stefan Nason. And sure enough, Stefan Nason scored in that game. So maybe you consider Stefan Nason again. And the third line was kind of held under wraps the other night against Florida. But Martinuk, Stahl, and Fost for the better part of the last couple of weeks have been terrific for the Carolina Hurricanes, especially in terms of offensive production. As far as New Jersey goes, again, when Jesper Bratt's moved up to the top line for the Devils. So I think there's some opportunity there to back his props at the moment. Hughes has been great, and they've obviously got Hischier and Tatar starting to percolate a little bit, but I think Jesper on the top line might have some value since he's been moved up there to play with Hischier and with Tatar. All right, next up, we've got the New York Rangers taking on the Florida Panthers. Even money, minus 110 here, both sides, 6 the total in this game. This is a make or break stretch, or not. Maybe I'm overreacting. It is January 1st. I mean, there's still, 3 full months of the season and a little bit, 3+ months left in the regular season to be saying that. But it kind of does feel that way for Florida. And they've talked about it coming out of the break. The playoffs start for us right now. And at home against Montreal, they drilled the Canadiens 7-2, but they couldn't follow it up against Carolina. Now, it was on a back-to-back. Carolina was rested. Carolina's, red hot right now, can do no wrong. They lost 4-0, but I still expected a little better out of Florida than that, even on a back-to-back against a surging Carolina team playing as well as any team in the NHL right now, and they could not sustain it. But now they are back home where they did get that resounding win against Montreal, and obviously with the day in between games. So I'd expect Florida to be a lot better here in this one. Will they be good enough to beat the Rangers? That is a question. The Rangers have dropped each of their first 2 games following the Christmas break to Washington and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was a tough one because that game could have went either way, and they ran into Andrei Vasilevsky in Stanley Cup Vezina form in that game the other night on Thursday. 2-1 shootout win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He was brilliant, Vasilevsky, and Shesterkin was too. It was a great goaltending battle, but unfortunately, it was the shootout that did the New York Rangers in that game. I don't think I'm going to be involved here in this one. I'm kind of thinking maybe Florida comes out strong early after being shut out the last game. I mean, the first period on Florida is kind of interesting, and I'm starting to think that with the urgency that's setting in for the Florida Panthers right now, that they are going to get, especially at home, you're going to see them have good first 20 minutes to hockey games, knowing how important these games are. So I kind of like Florida in the first 20. I'll probably have a small play on that and probably just go money line because the price is short enough rather than if you want the -0.5 puck line, you're certainly going to get a good price on that. With Florida, it would be -0.5 at a really good plus price of +175. I think I'll play it a little bit more conservative and just go with the -120 first period money line on the Florida Panthers. I do think that could get there in this one. And plus another thing too, which Rich says, and I've noticed that too, it's why I like the first period a little bit more than the full game on Florida. It is third game in 4 nights for Florida. You could have those legs catch up to them a little bit as the game goes on. Kind of like Nashville yesterday. Think about how Nashville rip roaring in the first period against Vegas yesterday on the back-to-back after playing Anaheim. And then second and the third period, they started to, they didn't play as well as the game went along, and Vegas got stronger. They got weaker, Nashville. So you could see something like that with Florida, but I think they have a good opening 20 minutes here. So I'll take a shot here. Panthers first period money line. What do you think here, Alex? Rangers and Panthers.
Yeah, I think there will be a little bit of energy in the first period, and that's something to keep a note on with all 5 of these games is really watching the pace and tempo, because I think some games might be a little sloppy than others. I don't think this is going to be a sloppy game, but I think there will be some energy on both sides. Like he says, this kind of means a lot for both teams. Florida trying to just get back into the realm of being a winning hockey team consistently, and like I said, getting back into the playoff race. Rangers having a little bit of a skid, losing 3 of the last 4. I think they want to try to turn things around as well. So I like both teams to score in the first period, plus 165. That's available at BetMGM. I like that more than the first period over. Obviously, you need 2 goals to score, but at $1.40, I don't want to lay that kind of price, especially these 2 teams kind of trending under in the first period. But I think it's more of I think Florida steps up and plays a little bit better early than we've seen recently. They're just 3-7 to the first period over the last 10. So you could take a shot with the first period over it, but I like the bigger plus price here as a result of that under trend of late. So go both teams to score in the first period, plus 165.
Yeah, I would lean. I like that, actually. I think you're on because, look, Montreal, Florida, which was the only home game for Florida since the Christmas break, that was 3-2 Florida after the first period. Both teams clearly got on the scoreboard. Both teams obviously off losses. Both, the Rangers off 2 straight losses. So they could find the back of the net certainly in the first period, especially if they're going to go up against goalie Bob. And I'm going to project that it's goalie Bob. for the Panthers in that. I actually do lean over 6, believe it or not, just because of series history. It's been crazy. 10 straight head-to-head meetings over with the Rangers versus the Panthers. It's been not shocking, because we know that both teams can be capable. We know Florida's been a pretty strong over team, or a team more than capable of being involved in high-scoring games over the years, but not so much the Rangers. But 10 straight overs with the teams head-to-head, 5-2, 4-3, 4-3, 4-3, 6-5, 5-4, all of them one-goal games for the most part, except the most recent meeting between them as well. So definitely lean over the total here. I'll probably add a small play on that as well. Just, it's sometimes series history. You got to go with it. There's no rhyme or reason to it. We know the Rangers with Shesterkin and net, they could play 2-1, 3-1 very easily in any game, like they did against Tampa Bay the other night. But it's just, when you see a series history like that, it's hard to ignore that. There's no question about it. As far as the Panthers, though, I'd want to mention in terms of the props, they are getting healthier. There's no question. Ekblad, Tkachuk healthy, and of course Barkov for sure was the big one, getting him back after the Christmas break. And I think Barkov, when you look at his play here since returning to the lineup, he had the 5-point night, the hat trick in the first period against Montreal. I think his props are worth a look. I think if anyone's gonna do damage, it'll be him in terms of points and goals, no question. So I think we will definitely look in that direction in terms of Barkov props. Again, my guy E2 Coolmint Luostarinen has been just a gold mine for me all season long in terms of the player prop market. He's now on the second line. He's got 2 goals in the last 4 games and 4 points in the last 6 games for the Florida Panthers. So he's been very good. So definitely wouldn't talk anyone out of looking at props involving him in this game. On the Rangers side of the fence, Kakko on the top line and Kravtsov up to the second line. Keep an eye on both of them. Maybe undervalued for their props today in this game as well. All right, we got 3 games left on this Sunday card, and we'll be back to break those down and analyze them right after we hear from our good friends at Gramco.
All right, whether you or your team's game is on the field, screen, racetrack, or the ice, Gramco is for the game. Grown by farmers who spent years developing premium hemp genetics, Gramco provides customers with consistent quality Delta 8 products ready for any occasion. Gramco currently offers numerous Delta 8 products such as vape cartridges, disposable vapes, pre-rolls, gummies, wake and bake coffee, and more. Gramco offers an enjoyable legal high delivered discreetly and directly to you, and is also available at many American retailers as well. Get the best Delta 8 cannabis products on the market shipped quickly and discreetly from Gramco. If you visit www.thegramco.com, use promo code Ice Guys, you get 25% off of any order, and all orders on the site that are $50 and higher are shipped free with standard shipping. So live elevated with Gramco and check out their wonderful Delta 8 products today.
All right, there we go. Gramco, check them out. And by the way, that's a great point. Thank you. I wanted to mention that. I almost forgot, because sometimes you're just not going to remember everything. But yes, Alexis Lafreniere back in the lineup today after being a healthy scratch against Tampa. Sometimes that's a wake-up call. I like betting on players when they return to the lineup after being demoted or benched or being a healthy scratch. And we're talking about a talented kid who, again, hasn't found consistency yet at the NHL level, but I expect him to be flying out there on the ice today against the Florida Panthers. So absolutely, whatever prop bets you could look for involving Alexis Lafreniere in this game, I think are worth a look for the New York Rangers. Wouldn't shock me at all to see him, point to prove to his head coach, Gerard Gallant, like, I'm going to show you why you shouldn't do that again. I belong in this lineup. He is plus 400 at some spots to score a goal, plus 420. Wow. At Caesars Sportsbook. Definitely something to consider here in this one. I'm going to check to see what it's like at Bet365. They sometimes have them the goal props on some of these players, even better prices. Let me just see. No, it's around the same. So, yeah, plus 420 looks to be the best one out there for Lafreniere to find the back of the net tonight. All right, we continue along here on this Sunday edition of the Ice Guys. First edition of 2023. Make sure you hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. On we go. Next up, San Jose Sharks, Chicago Blackhawks. We've got San Jose minus 140, road favorites, 6 the total in this game. Back-to-back for both of these teams. They both played yesterday Afternoon game, though, in Columbus for Chicago. Night game in Dallas for San Jose. So probably an easier, scheduling scheduling and travel situation for Chicago than it is for San Jose getting back to this game. And this is a winnable hockey game for Chicago. And sometimes at home, they're capable of beating teams that are on their level or even maybe just a little below them. And Chicago's at least, or San Jose's at least very close to where Chicago is. There's not much difference between these two teams. So I'm actually tempted by the home dog, believe it or not, here. The Chicago Blackhawks plus 120. I haven't bet it yet. Certainly would lean over I am on the over already, as you know. I've been riding these San Jose games over. I'm mad I didn't have the full game over, but wasn't quite sure San Jose would find the back of the net a ton against Dallas. But sure enough, they did get to 2, and Dallas took care of the rest and scored 5. But San Jose, 6 straight overs. They just cannot keep the puck out of their net right now. 5 to Calgary, 7 to Calgary. They give up 2 to Minnesota, but that was an anomaly. And since the Christmas break, they give up 6 to Vancouver, 4 to a Flyers team that sometimes struggles offensively, and then the 5 to Dallas last night. I mean, they are really struggling to score goals right now. The Blackhawks team total is not even a bad option here as well. Maybe they could find some offense here in this game because remember, they did beat Columbus 5-2 at home right before the Christmas break, and this has that same feel to it. 5-2 Chicago, 4-3 Chicago, something like that. So definitely lean Chicago home underdog here, plus 120. And I definitely like the over. I am stronger on the total than I am the side here in this one. Over 6 minus 120 with the Sharks and the Blackhawks. And it appears like we are going to see a Kaapo Kähkönen, Peter Mrazek goaltending matchup, which you'd expect because it was Stalock yesterday. Mrazek, the much weaker option. So no question about that. In net tonight, and Kähkönen after Reimer got the start last night against Dallas. So, yeah, I'm liking this over, and right now leaning a smaller bet I think I'll have on the Blackhawks as a home dog plus 120. There's not going to be many times you want to back Chicago, but they're at home. They faced a Class D team last time at home, Columbus. They won that game 5-2. So, winnable game for Chicago. What do you think here, Alex? Sharks, Blackhawks?
Yeah, it's a winnable game for the Hawks, but the way that they play on Sundays is keeping me off of this. And like I said, coming back home early on Saturday, New Year's Eve, and now heading, New Year's Day. It's just a tough spot. I'm not looking at anybody on the side. Definitely not laying a price with the San Jose team the way they've been playing right now. And as someone mentioned in the chat, they got 4 days off afterward. This definitely seems like it's going to be a slop fest. I think we see a lot of goals going both ways. I played the over 6 minus $1.10 yesterday, and I'm surprised it's not 6.5 everywhere. There's some books that have moved to 6.5, but you can still get minus $1.15 or minus $1.20 on that over 6. So I'd say definitely go over the total here with this.
All right, over there. 6 is available still, at many books. Over 6 minus 120 here, Sharks and the Blackhawks. As far as player props for this game, because we do think there's going to be some goals between these two teams. No question about that. You start to look at who's been getting it done lately for Chicago. You look at it, I'd say Taylor Radish is someone that you want to consider. We've seen him lighted up here a few games. Max Domi, you got to give him credit here. He's been solid here for the Blackhawks, and he's given them a little jolt in the offensive end. I think even lately we've seen the Greek Stallion, Athanasiou, start to get things going for them. 2 goals and 2 points in the last 4 games. So there's a couple Chicago options there. Carlson on a point streak. So if you can find Erik Karlsson props, wouldn't say no to that. Obviously, I like Alex Kevin Labanc, by the way, looks like he returned from injury, an absence right before the Christmas break. He's on the second line. He's always worth a look. He scored 2 goals, 3 points in the last 4 games. But Barabanov's the guy for me. They moved him up to the top line. He gets a goal last night for the Sharks, playing alongside Couture and Timo Meier. I think he's definitely worth a look here from a prop standpoint for San Jose. He's playing hard, that kid, every night, and he's getting chances every night, Barabanov. He's deserving of that opportunity on the top line for San Jose. So a couple of good prop options there on the Sharks side as well. All right, Buffalo Sabres, Ottawa Senators. Ottawa minus 130, home favorite, 6.5 the total in this one. This does smell like a potential, I don't want to say letdown, but that's a huge win for the Sabres against Boston yesterday. That being said, it's hard to ignore taking them at a plus 110 price right now. They're playing some real good hockey, this Sabres team. Tage Thompson with another great goal yesterday to get them going, tie the game 1-1. Just the great hands, the patience It's just remarkable to see consistently from Tage Thompson some of these goals that he is scoring for them. And what I like about Buffalo is they show a little backbone yesterday. They go down 3-2 in the third. It looks like that game's getting away from them. And in fact, Boston had a short 5-on-3 two-man advantage when they were up 3-2 in the third. I'm like, okay, this game's over now. There goes Buffalo. That's done for them. They killed it off. They almost scored shorthanded on it and survived that, and still only down 3-2. Gave themselves a chance to pull the goalie, take Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen out of the game, get the extra attacker, and that's when they tied the game. Now, was that a shot that Swayman should have stopped? Absolutely. Probably should have. But nevertheless, it was a quick shot. He wasn't ready for it, and it tied the game 3-3 late in that game. Great shot by Cousins, certainly, to tie that game. And then, of course, they win it in overtime. Great resolve. And UPL, you're right, Real Deal Prime. I want to chant it. Because, I grew up a Sabres fan. Deep down in my heart, I want to see them do well. UPL, UPL, UPL. This kid's getting better and better. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. He had to make some dazzling saves in that game, especially when Boston was trying to look for the insurance goal. And he's become a third period performer. You look at the Colorado game, when Colorado was pressing, Buffalo survived because of UPL's goaltending in the final period. You look at the Vegas game, Vegas mounted a push against Buffalo, and they survived that because, again, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen was terrific. And again, last night, yesterday afternoon, when it was 3-2, Boston could have gone to 4-2 easily with the chances the Bruins had, and he kept it a one-goal game. Timely saves. Coaches say that all the time. It's true. Timely saves matter, and he has made them for the Buffalo Sabres of late. Because, look, Buffalo's still a defense where they're going to cough up the puck every now and then. They're still young. They're still growing and learning on the blue line with the youngsters, Samuelson, Power, Bryson, Dahlin, all these kids on the blue line. They're going to make mistakes, but Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen's been there to clean up the messes lately for the Buffalo Sabres in net, and he's been excellent. No question about that. However, we're probably not going to see him tonight against the Ottawa Senators. You'd think it'll be Craig Anderson's opportunity to get a start in net for the Sabres tonight on the back-to-back situation. All that being said, I like where Craig Anderson's game has gone of late. He's played pretty well. You look at recent starts, Arizona, he wins that game, gives up just 2 goals, 40-save shutout against Los Angeles. That 6-0 romp on our last betcast when the Sabres won that game going away. It was a shutout for Craig Anderson that night. His last 2 starts have been really good. 7-4-1, 2.65 goals against, 922 save percentage. Those aren't bad numbers. And what I like about what they're doing, Alex, is they're keeping him fresh, right? This is an older goalie. They're not wearing him into the ice. They're giving him several days off a lot of times between starts, and that gives him a chance to be at his best and give him his best chance to perform well for Buffalo. And I like the angle of him playing his old team here, the Ottawa Senators. I think you're going to get a great effort from him. Ottawa is in a rut right now where they're blowing some games. Again, last night, 4-2 against Detroit, an ugly third period for them. It's weird. They came back on a Washington team that blew a lead, and then they blow a lead last night against the Detroit Red Wings and lose that game 4-2. Anton Forsberg probably in net for Ottawa because it was Cam Talbot last night. His game has not been nearly as good lately. Anton Forsberg in net for the Senators. So I know there's concern about Buffalo after a huge win against one of the best teams in the NHL. Now going on the road for a second straight game. This is not the time to back the Sabres, not the spot to back the Sabres, but I think this is the price. I like to back the Sabres, and for that reason, I'm still on Buffalo tonight, plus 110. Also, lean over, but Anderson's playing well. Ottawa, it's 6.5. Some of these Ottawa games have not gotten over that number, but I still wouldn't play it under. Buffalo certainly trending over the total, and another over cashes for them yesterday in that game against the Boston Bruins. Alex, what do you think here, Buffalo, Ottawa?
Yeah, I like Buffalo in this price too. Like I said, you're not going to get them as a dog too often, home or road, especially if they keep playing the way that they are. And like you mentioned, with UPL actually stepping up and possibly taking the reins of being a number 1 goalie, I mentioned it just yesterday. Now this gives Buffalo the flexibility they've been looking for the last couple of years. Having a veteran like Anderson that they can rest and give a spot start to, but then having the young kid that they can ride and rely on. And you mentioned about how well he plays in the third period. That's a mark of a good goalie. When you see a guy getting stronger as the game goes along, making saves when it counts late in games, that's something Buffalo's been lacking for a very long time. So they can get that rolling with that offense that they have. tighten little things up a little bit better on the blue line, they're in line to make a nice little surge and possibly a run for a wild card spot right now. Ottawa is definitely not a team worth laying a price on, even at home. Like I said, they've struggled lately. 4 of their last games have been close. 3 of them have gone to overtime or a shootout. So wouldn't look at anything regulation. I'd just go straight up with Buffalo here at a plus price.
All right, Buffalo plus 110. Actually, some plus 115 prices starting to show up on the Sabres. So shop around. You can even get better than that at a lot of places right now. But even on it's back-to-back for both teams. Believe it or not, it's actually an afternoon game for Buffalo, and Ottawa played last night against Detroit. So keep that in mind. Both teams have to cross the border, obviously, the U.S.-Canada border. So there's no advantage there. And in fact, Buffalo gets to probably get into Ottawa quicker than Ottawa after yesterday's game. So, both of us liking the Sabres more than anything because of the price you're getting here. Plus 110 with a team that's surging, playing great hockey, a Sabres team, that is, got confidence. 10-6 they are on the road. They've actually been better on the road than they've been in Buffalo. A 6-game winning streak for the Sabres. They will look to make it 7 in a row tonight. As far as props go in this, it's DeBrincat, Batherson, and Pinto. Don't overthink it for Ottawa. Those have been the guys. Buffalo, Thompson, Skinner, and Tuck have been excellent, that line. But there's always capability. Dylan Cousins, the guy that's the most undervalued right now. He scores the big goal to tie it yesterday. He's on a great goal streak and point streak. Tons of points in the last 10 to 15 games. So Dylan Cousins continues to be really undervalued at the moment for the Sabres. He's making an impact night in, night out. All right, final game of this Sunday NHL slate, the first of 2023. New York Islanders, Seattle Kraken. Seattle minus 120. Home favorites, total 6 here. It's not the Seattle Kraken since the break. It's the Seattle Cracked. They've got their heads cracked here the first 2 games. Not so much by Calgary. It was a close game, 3-2, but they lose. Edmonton just dummies them up the other night, 7-2. And before you can even get comfortable, you get your beverage out of the fridge, you sit down, you put the game on. It's 4-0 Edmonton. I mean, that is how quickly it happened. It was a disastrous opening period for the Seattle Kraken in that game, down 4-0, and they lose 7-2 to the Edmonton Oilers. From a situational standpoint, the lean for me in this game, this is a game I'm passing on probably. I don't think I'm going to be involved in this one. But the situational lean for me is Seattle first period, just to, get the malaise out of their system. They're off getting their ass kicked against Edmonton at home. They need a better start. They know they need a better start. And I think the onus will be on that for Seattle in this game. So part of me wants to look at Seattle here first period, probably first period puck line, if anything, -0.5 to get a better price. And by the way, Seattle -0.5, plus 170 for that first period puck line. I think I'll put a couple bucks on that. But it's not going to be a huge bet because I am worried Seattle's coming back down to earth. They're showing some symptoms of that here the last few games. It's not been a great back half of December for them. Since December 13th, this team is 2-5, in their last 7 games. So it's been a struggle for the Kraken. Their defensive game has eroded. You don't know what you're going to get most nights these days from Grubauer or Martin Jones in net. That's concerning. And you're playing an Islanders team that's won 3 in a row. Now, all at home against Florida, Pittsburgh, and Columbus. But still, they're playing better. They've won 3 in a row. Sorokin, after a little bit of a wobble there for a bit, has gotten his game back and played better the last couple starts. I think we'll probably be seeing Sorokin in net. It's not confirmed yet for this game, but I would expect him to be in net. Sounds like it'll be Martin Jones for Seattle, but again, not confirmed. I think the first period, though, you do get Seattle coming out strong. They have to after a game like they had against Edmonton. You can't start that way and expect to win a hockey game. I think certainly Dave Haxtell will tell his players, and it's not like he has to, but I think they know they need a good first period tonight. So Seattle -0.5, plus 170 in the first period. It tempts me enough that I think I'll put a few shekels on it. What do you think here, Alex? Islanders, Kraken.
Yeah, I understand the thought process behind that. You think that, like I said, as bad of a first period you could possibly have last game, they've got to turn it around and get good momentum going early in this contest. But like you said, they're just in poor form right now, and I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to give up 4 goals again tonight, but I don't think they're going to turn around and all of a sudden just be playing hot like we saw the last 3-4 weeks and a couple of months at the beginning of the season. I think the Islanders are in better form right now. Like I said, they had won 3 in a row at home. Now getting on the road, they want to try and get things and keep things rolling, but do that on the road where they've actually been 12-7 this year. So at a plus price here, even money, I went and took a shot with the Islanders.
All right, let's hope for Seattle 1-0 after the first period and Islanders 3-2 at the end of the game. Everybody's
That'll
happy.
work.
That'll work because
Yeah.
you're right. I'm only on them in the first period. I don't trust them, and I don't like the price for the full game. If I were to bet full game, I'd bet Islanders too, honestly. And they
Yeah.
are the team in better form right now.
And honestly, a good look would be if you see Seattle get the lead, but they aren't playing well, then now you get an even better adjusted price in game on the Islanders. So.
Yeah, exactly. That I think that's a good way to go. I might even do that. Like, let's say I get the Seattle first period puck line plus 170, 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, whatever the score is. Yeah, I'll end up maybe betting Islanders live. Not maybe, I probably will. Honestly, bet the Islanders live at that point at a pretty decent price. But Alex liking the Islanders here, full game plus 100, even money, and I'm going to take a shot with Seattle minus a half plus 170. First period puck line in this one. All right, great stuff. That is the Sunday card. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it very much. And make sure you sign up and subscribe if you haven't already at patreon.com/Ice Guys. Daily Ice Guys show betting card posted there. Power ratings, totals charts, goalie charts, lots of bonus content planned in the new year. We're going to have a lot of guests coming up in the new year. A lot of them that have held off being with us because of busy times around the holidays are going to be joining us. Some old guests that we've had on before, some new ones as well. So we're looking forward to all of that coming up in the weeks and months to come. So check out patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 a month. We'll get to best bets in just a second, right after we hear from our good friends at Manscaped. Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Manscaped, our good friends at Manscaped, who are the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, courtesy of the Ice Guys. Get 20% off of any purchase and free worldwide shipping with the promo code Ice Guys. That's promo code Ice Guys, all one word, ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 400 million balls that you can help preserve with manscaped.com using the promo code Ice Guys. You get the Performance Package 4.0. It is a game changer. The Lawnmower 4.0. It takes care of this, among other things. It'll keep you trim as can be. The Lawnmower 4.0, waterproof. Same thing with the Weed Whacker, which takes care of your ear hair, nose hair. I mean, nose hair in particular. I'm getting up there in age, and nose hair is becoming definitely more of an issue. This will take care of it. It feels like someone's tickling the inside of your nostrils sometimes. It pisses the hell out of me. It bothers me. I need to take care of that shit. This will take care of it for you. The Weed Whacker makes part of the package that you get with your Manscaped purchase and the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. You also get the ball toner. You also get the ball deodorant, keep you smelling good and looking good and feeling good down in the nether regions. This package is really going to make you feel good and look good and look better, slim, trim. That's what it's all about. And manscaped.com can help you out with that. So make sure you take advantage of this. Manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code Ice Guys at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the promo code Ice Guys. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, we are back on the Ice Guys show. Great question in the chat about the BetCast date. We're going to confirm that this week at some point for sure. Yeah. It'll be one of the last Tuesdays of June, last 2 Tuesdays of January, not June. I'm rushing the season, aren't I? Talking about June. Right. One of the last 2 Tuesdays of January is when we will be doing the BetCast. So it'll either be January the 24th or the 31st. I think the 24th is honestly the date that I've got in mind, but we'll confirm that for sure. Later on this week on the show. But yes, we will have a January BetCast for sure, our first of 2023. And get ready, because after the NFL season ends, after Super Bowl Sunday, we're going to be getting into the weekly BetCast habit and routine. So, and make sure you tell everybody about the BetCast. I've been so impressed that we've had way more people showing up on the live stream this year. We've had way more. We've had some live nights, live BetCast with 8 people simultaneously. Like, it's been great to see that. And hopefully we continue to get that kind of turnout and response from the Ice Guys betcasts moving forward. So definitely enjoy them. And we've got certainly plenty more ahead throughout the course of the year. Hopefully we've got some winners ahead for you right now with best bets here for this Sunday card. Alex, so we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
Yeah, we're heading over to the west side. We're going to go with the Sharks Blackhawks over 6. Still get minus $1.10 or minus $1.15. I just expect this to be an absolute nightmare of a game from a defensive standpoint. This is going to be all offense all the time for both teams. Like I said, the Hawks do have a legitimate chance to win the game here. San Jose is equally as bad, but I just don't know if I want to take any shot with the side as opposed to this total, getting a great price and a great number. Let's go with San Jose and Chicago over 6, minus $1.10 is my best bet for the first day of 2023.
There you go. San Jose, Chicago over 6, minus 120. Best bet for Alex B. Smith on the Sunday slate. My best bet, we're going to go, let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. I almost used them as best bet yesterday, honestly, but I didn't have the guts to do it with them playing the Bruins. But I certainly love that price, and I like the way they're playing. A 6-game win streak, catching a nice plus 115 price here in this game. I don't mind the old man, Craig Anderson, being in net. They give him a fair amount of rest these days. He's played very well in his last 2 starts, and just the team overall is playing some great hockey. Buffalo plus 115 against Ottawa. That is going to be my best bet here for this Sunday NHL card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate that. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. And if you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. Oh, just remembered something. Thank goodness the brain, it doesn't fail me all the time. I just remembered to say this. Special start time for the Ice Guys tomorrow, noon Eastern. So, yeah, usually Monday is 2 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, we're going to move it up to noon Eastern for the Ice Guys show tomorrow. The Winter Classic, of course, is tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern. Penguins and Bruins at Fenway Park in Boston. And so we decided, you know what? We all want to watch that game. And it would be preferred if we don't have to do the show while that game's just getting started. So we're going to be on with you tomorrow at noon Eastern, a special start time, just one day only for a Monday at noon Eastern tomorrow. And we will break down the Winter Classic and, of course, the other 2 games on the Monday card, the 2 night games, which are Vegas, Colorado, and Philadelphia, Anaheim. So join us tomorrow, earlier than normal for a Monday, noon Eastern, for the Monday edition of the Ice Guys. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll talk to you again Monday at a special start time, noon Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by National Hockey Now.